I did it. It's about that time. You are about to get highly educated with Cannabis Closet podcast with Canna Queen and MJ. This is an adult content show with no limitations on subject, language, or actions. Opinions, views, and expressions may or may not be that of the hosts and their subsidiaries. If you're not sure, don't worry, we'll tell you. Or just take a look at our faces. It's time to get this session started. Thanks for rolling up and showing up. Enjoy the show. Hey.
Hi.
I stumbled through that like a motherfucker. That was hard. You know why? It's because I'm going to have to like mute my computer when I do it because I can hear myself and it's like
yourself.
Yeah, it's like distracting because the sound is coming from a separate place. So it's not this main computer that I'm on. So hey, how are you?
Hey, we got the whole like syncing of that working, so we know it
Yeah.
works. We know how to get this done. Like I'm looking at my phone. I'm looking at my computer camera, though I should be looking at my phone camera because I got a better phone
You got a
camera
new
now.
phone. You got a new phone. What's up?
I got a new car too. I gotta call my
You
insurance
got a lot of
company.
new stuff. You got a new car, you got a new phone, you're on your way to getting a new computer in the very near future. I'm just manifesting that one.
Yeah, I gotta write it down. I haven't been writing. It's like
What's up, Nex?
Nexus.
Nexus is here, like
What
always.
up?
We can always count on Nexus. We love you.
Yes.
We're gonna be talking about the war on drugs today. It's a very interesting subject that we have on the books. It was, I wanted to do, and I'll do it again. I'll do a little trigger warning again when we get more folks in the comments. But this could be a very triggering show. This could be very emotionally driven show.
Yeah, we may want to repeat our as more people come on and as we're talking, we'll just give another little
We'll
reminder
definitely
that
do another disclaimer before we get into our main topic. How about that? I
it's
feel
some
like
pretty
that's
heavy,
fair.
it's pretty heavy, serious stuff.
Yeah.
So definitely have your preferred way to medicate next
Yeah,
to you.
definitely medicate for this show because we can. Because
It's
we
going to
can.
cause some anxiety. It's going to cause some anger. It's going to.
Well, some of us can. Some of us still can't legally do this, which is very disappointing. I
I'm
swear,
going to post a YouTube video of Jay-Z and an artist, Molly Crabtree.
Molly Crabtree
does the illustration, and I didn't get to listen to it because we were talking while I was playing it, but I watched the illustration and her artwork, and she does like the whole watercolor art going along with this, and it really relates to what we're talking about today.
That's awesome. If you guys want to hear the full
post
conversation and you're in my TikTok right now, go to solo.to/cannabiscloset420. We are on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook Live as well. Cannabis Closet 420. We are the show is live right now, and we're going to be talking about the war on drugs today. It's going to be a very interesting topic. There are things that we found out that we were like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Like literally, what the fuck? And it even with the knowledge of how corrupt our country is. Anyways, we're going to get into that a little bit later. But looks like we don't have any guests to introduce today. And our producer is off working on artwork today. So he's not going to be joining us today either because we are in the last steps of getting some artwork done so we can do our product release in the very, very near future. So we're looking forward to that. Yeah. What else? What else? What else you want to talk about? Yay! Hey, what's up, Des? We're going to be talking about the war on drugs today. I've said that several times. Welcome to the show. We are going to do a little bit of a trigger warning before we start talking about the main subject. But is anything interesting happening on your end before we get into why I'm mad today?
Anything interesting on my end?
Yeah.
I mean, there's always something interesting going on.
She got all the new right now. So she got a new car, she got a new phone.
Got a new car and got a new phone. Also, got reminded that I have this random tomato allergy and my face puffed up like a puffer fish for about a week.
Crazy.
So, and it's still slightly, which is why I actually did want to put makeup on today, and I left my makeup bag down at my sister's. And so I was like, and thankfully I am a hoarder of certain things, and I had like pieced together capabilities. Just so to, smooth out the redness, it's red and irritated.
So you have a tomato allergy, but you still eat tomatoes.
So it was an allergy that developed when I was 30. Like randomly, and I blame it on antibiotics because I had this super bad gash on my leg from a work incident, and and it didn't heal properly. I was working as a sales rep.
Listen, this conversation's about to get interesting. How did you cut yourself as a sales rep? That's not even a dangerous job.
So it's more dangerous than you think. So we were at a trade show. We had this rolling rack, a double wide rolling rack, and it had a wonky, that would fold down, and it had one that would also fold out, and you're not really supposed to go out the other way. So
I take back what I said. Trade shows are dangerous.
We were at a show. Yeah, we were at a show. We were breaking down and everything, and one of the racks, we were taking the bar off the top, and so the poles that sit this way fell in, and it caught my leg and created like a big ass gash. And so it was fine, cleaned it, and scrape. It was a scrape. It started as a scrape, okay. Yeah. And so I treat it, I clean it, I bandage it. I Neosporin it, I bandage it, I go on my merry way, and a few days later, this thing is looking like,
oh no, it's infected.
Bad. So I go to the walk-in clinic. They give me antibiotics, and and I start taking them. So this starts to clear up, look fine, and I start breaking out in hives. And I'm like, what is going on? And so for about a month I had hives. Like, couldn't figure it out. Went back to them, said, I'm having hives. They're like, oh, don't know what to tell you.
Because doctors practice, by the way. So stop thinking that white coat makes them superior to the rest of us. It does not.
I did go get allergy testing, just blood work testing. I didn't do the whole patch testing or anything like that, but didn't come back with anything other than I had maybe a possible, like it was on the verge of whether I had a latex allergy or not. But I don't really react to latex, and as far as I know, being that I've and so I still put it. I'll mark it on the form just in case, because I'm like, well, I'll use non-latex things as much as possible. But anyway, so finally I decided, I was like, okay, well, it's got to be something dietary then. And I took all, I was like, what do I eat the most of? And at that time in my life, it was
pizza,
bread, tomato, and cheese.
Yes, pizza.
Yeah, pasta, bruschetta,
pizza and pasta. That's it. Woo!
I loved Italian food. Yes. I mean, my favorite drinks were Bloody Marys, and
so you were really doing it, like.
Yeah, and so I was like, okay, so I've got to take these things out of my diet. I take those things out of my diet for a month, and they clear up, and I was like, okay, so let's slowly start introducing the bread.
Bread first, right?
Then I did cheese.
Yes, of course. I know the order already of the reintroduction.
and then I did tomato, and so, I would eat some tomato, and I would and it's
Mm.
okay, and I would get a little itchy, and then if I ate to what I figured out finally through, process of elimination. What really got me was on my 30th birthday,
Oh wow.
was doing a float down Ginny Springs. We did my girlfriends go camping every year, and they have a big ass spot in Ginny Springs, which is now
Mm.
going to be like dewatered by Nestle. But
We can talk about that on a Wednesday show if you want to.
Okay, yeah, we need to. We would do floats. So I decided, I was like, fuck it. I'm going to do a big ass Bloody Mary and float down the river this morning. And so I made a tumbler
Yes.
full of Bloody Mary, and we
Oh,
went down
girl.
that river. And by the end of the evening, I was full blown hives. And
Full blown hives. That Bloody Mary was like, I got you.
um, and so, I didn't eat tomato for a good period of time. And then I moved out to Colorado, and was working down at a dispensary in Denver, and one of the guys walked in, and he had this like purple ugly heirloom tomato, and I was like, oh my god, that is amazing. And he was like, he cut it open. He's like, would you like to try some? I was like, I shouldn't because I have this allergy. And
You're like,
I
should
was like,
I? Should I?
fuck it, I'm going for it. It's worth it, right? It's not anaphylactic. I've just had
Fresh.
hives. We're good, right?
Yeah.
Popped that tomato in my mouth, and I was like, this is the best thing I've ever tasted. One. Two, I didn't get affected.
Right.
Didn't do anything. So
Do
I
you
was
think it
like,
might have been like
okay.
the breed of tomato? Like, were these processed foods that you were eating?
Yes. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to start experimenting. I'll introduce it back in. So then I'm like, so if I eat it one day, I'll get itchy like a little bit, here and here, and eat it another day, and it might increase, and then might
Yeah.
move to my arms. Third time I eat it was the charm where
Yeah.
so I was like,
Full
okay,
blown.
so three times. And so then I was like, okay, so then I just started eating heirloom and organic tomatoes. Tried not to, eat anything that was
Right.
processed from restaurants, or if I was at a restaurant, if it was farm to table, fine. And so would kind of do things like that and dabble a little. Well, recently I have just been eating tomato like I can do
Like you
it.
don't have an allergy.
Like
Like
I
you're,
don't have like that. None of that happened. Like none of that happened. And so I think that that's really just where it was at.
and
I
you
didn't
did.
really
You were
get
actually, you were here Wednesday with kind of some swelling.
some, puffy face,
Yeah.
and so it's still red a little bit. And I did stop putting one of my, two of my salves on my face that I, have been using for years. So I'm like, but also I'm gonna take the tomato into account. And,
Yes. Yes.
um,
Yes, definitely. I mean,
so
definitely look at both of those items. The most exciting thing, what's up, Denise? The from North Carolina. You know, I'm my family's from North Carolina. So I know a little bit about I grew up a little bit out there. I went to high school in South Carolina. I was gonna say about the organic and stuff is that there's some research that shows that like celiac is in actually quite a bit fewer people than those who have it, who are diagnosed with in the United States. A lot of the problem, like these same people could go to a different country where all of the food is fresh made, there's not a lot of processing happening, and eat bread all day long, and not get sick from it. And so I know I'm waiting for it to be legal out there
we
too. I
are
want I
too.
want
Yeah.
my family to have access to it legally. Um and friends that I have out there as well. But yeah, so there's some research that shows that a lot of our food allergies in the United States are because of how our foods are processed, and how they're kept, like we can keep them for a long time, and stuff like that. So the word just escaped my brain for what that is because I'm stoned. But yeah, so that's interesting. That I think that I wonder if also the breed of the tomato. So you said it was one of those big ugly purple ones that that guy came in with, right?
Hmm.
Oh man, those things are so good. But there's something different about them, right? There's something that's not in them, or something that's in them that's causing them to be purple and not red. or whatever.
I don't know. Yeah, I've seen different tomatoes, like, just
Yeah.
through different restaurants that I've been to that kind of carry those heirloom or,
Those
ugly
things are so
tomatoes or
good.
whatever.
And also green tomatoes.
Um,
I will get down on a
and
fried green tomato all day long. What?
it really did
Yes.
remind me because people use Roma tomatoes. Everyone's going to these Roma tomatoes are like, and just don't taste like, it's like they don't taste like anything. And then
Yeah, they're very bland.
and even if but again, you can tell the difference, the taste difference of an organic heirloom,
You can.
locally grown than
You can
I don't
believe
even
that you
buy those
can't,
ones anymore.
but there's like, where I first noticed the taste difference between organic and just like regular shit, is blueberries. I was one day, I just picked up some organic blueberries, and I think I picked them up by accident, or they were on sale or some shit. And I picked those things up, and I was like, I felt like I had never tasted a blueberry before in my life. I did. I was like,
Right? You're like,
I'm
oh
never
God, this is
not
what they're
eating
supposed to
organic
taste
blueberries again. I'm never not
like.
eating organic blueberries
Hmm.
again. So, say what you want about and I mean, you of course got to be careful with those labels and stuff, because you can put organic on anything. Shit is organic. So, you just got to be, gotta be careful with what you're looking at. And still, even if it's marked organic, um, um, even if it's marked organic, then that doesn't mean it's good for you. Like, I feel like, um, I feel like I don't know what that comment means.
Playing at 2 times the speed. Does that mean we're not talking fast
Or am
enough?
I talking too fast for you? Because I
15.
might be. Anyways, who cares? But shit, I lost my train of thought. Thanks a lot. Anyways, so
That's almost like I can't see the comments. Like I can actually on my phone see the comments with the way that I'm logged in now. So, um, but I can't keep up with it. It's like and talk at the same time, which is,
right.
I mean, one of us
That's why I
should
was
be
having a
doing that
problem
and
with
the
the
other.
intro, because I could hear
Yeah.
myself. I could hear myself, and like I was trying to say the word, so it was like really fucking me up. But I'm gonna do better tomorrow. Tomorrow, I mean not tomorrow, but next show. Oh, which is gonna be like the following Monday. I guess we should tell all of
Oh
you
yeah, we
that
should talk about that. We are what are we
we
not
are
doing
off
on
on
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
What are we going to be doing instead?
We are not actually off on Wednesday. So I'm actually heading to Denver tomorrow. And then you're going to be heading to Denver on Wednesday. And we are going to an industry event. We've been invited by Eureka Vapor. If you're in California or Colorado and Eureka Vapor is not on your shelves, you should definitely ask for it. Ask them why they don't have it on the shelf. And so we're going to an event at the Marijuana Mansion. I'm super excited about it. I've never been to a marijuana mansion before. So super exciting. We're probably going to do some like video clips and some pictures for our web pages. So definitely check out solo.to/cannabis closet 420 to check out our links like Instagram. And we have a Spotify link on there too. And so we have links where you can find us. But we'll post all of that stuff on our Instagram and our Facebook page for sure. But yeah, we're not going to have a show on Wednesday because we're going to be working on Wednesday to make sure that we're prepared for this event. So if you want to follow us, check out solo.to/cannabis closet 420. Cannabis closet 420 at gmail.com is where you can get in touch with us. And I'll pop that Discord link in the chat very shortly. So we'll make sure we have that for sure. Let's talk about why I'm mad today.
Why are you mad today,
Let's just
Canna Queen?
transition right into that because I am so fucking irritated. So this week has been a week of people like I don't know why I need to stay away from the comment section, honestly. But then like I'll look at something on Vice or whatever, and it'll have a headline right about like this cannabis and COVID story. Oh, by the way, the only exciting thing that happened to me this week is that my ring light that I use broke, so it's a little bit like more ambiance in here today. I just
Yeah.
noticed it. So anyways, so there'll be like a headline that cannabis could help prevent COVID, right? That'll be the headline. And then, so then everybody just reads the head. This is the part that pisses me off, right? So everybody just, like reads the headline and then doesn't bother to take those extra. You're already on the internet. You're going to be there for like at least 30 minutes to an hour plus, right? And you're scrolling. Do something with that scroll. If you see a headline that sparks interest in your brain, don't just make some asinine comment in the comment section about it, but rather click the link like it asks you to do, because you're already taking time scrolling anyway. So what's this extra click? It's not a big deal. Click the fucking link. I know it's a little bit more difficult in Instagram, right? You got to click on the bio and then you got to click on the link in the bio and then find the story. But still, it's still time wasted on the internet. But this time you're actually doing something worthwhile. What pisses me off is that people read the headline, get excited. I smoke cannabis every day and I haven't gotten COVID yet. That's you. First of all, you are not a study. Okay. You're not an anomaly or, like whatever. You're not some special specimen that whatever happens to you happens to the rest of the whole United States, right? It's just, or the whole rest of the world. I shouldn't just limit it to the United States. Everybody does this across the whole world. So like you are not a study. And you smoking cannabis and not having gotten COVID just might make you one of the people who's gotten it and doesn't have any symptoms, who who just isn't going to get it, who just isn't going to get it. Some people just don't get it.
You're
It could be that,
asymptomatic. Yeah.
or you could just have not gotten it yet. So like, calm down. Your time might be coming. I know so many people who smoke copious amounts of cannabis who have gotten COVID and have gotten it very badly. So we can't even. So my problem with this is, I know I'm jumping around on this, but my problem with this is that we read the headline, right? And then some asshat goes in the comments and makes some stupid comment, right? And then when somebody who's been, I don't know, studying cannabis for a decade or more comes in the comments and says, hey, just because, for people who are actually looking for information and haven't also, like, just click the fucking link. But anyways, so I just like, hey, this study was done in a petri dish, and it was, yes, it utilized human cells, but also so I said, hey guys, this study was done, these results were gotten from a petri dish study. And then the guy, the person, I don't know, guy, girl, who gives a shit, the person says something like, it says right there. No, what it says right there in the headline, actually, which you also didn't clearly bother to read completely, is that uh that real humans have been surveyed and given their opinion about their health. Like, it's a self-report. That's not science, okay? That's just a survey. Of also a small control, like a small group. It's just like,
A lot
so
goes more into a study. A
right,
lot more
right,
requirements are.
exactly. So this study is just at petri dish phase. The next phase would be animal trials, actually, and then human trials. That's just how it works, because we try to do science as ethically as possible, although some of us would argue using animals who don't have a say in the matter is not ethical, but that's another subject for another day.
Which
So
is why there's
really,
petri dish
right.
studies
Exactly.
first.
For those of you watching on TikTok, if you want like the whole conversation, you can go to solo.to/cannabis closet 420. You can find us on Facebook Live, Twitch, and YouTube right now. We are live on the podcast. Join us in the comment section. By all means, I'd love to have your input. Especially, I see some of y'all in here. I would definitely love to have some of your input. But anyways, so and we're gonna be talking about the war on drugs today. So it bothers me that we have this access to information, right? And we just fail to fucking utilize it because we're too lazy. That, like, we're on this short attention span thing. I recommend for everybody to take some time during your week, at least once or twice a week, and meditate for like 5 minutes. Okay. Just start with 5. Let's start expanding our attention span, because our attention spans have gotten so short that we just don't even fucking bother anymore. And so this person was like, I don't know if I have the link to it. It was on Vice, and then my comments stopped posting because this person deleted all of their stuff, and then I couldn't find the article again. This person says,
oh, that's me. I'm just talking to this other person. You're good.
Okay. You're talking to, okay, great. Post in the comments. Post a link in the comments. Oh yeah. Maybe
it
send it
doesn't
to
show as a link.
cannabiscloset 420. Send it to cannabiscloset420 at gmail.com if for any reason you're unable to post a link, because YouTube doesn't allow that.
Yeah, it's not coming in as a link. It's just the yeah.
Right.
That's okay.
So the person says it's not the same study, and I go, look, all you got to do is click the damn link. And there's a link in the article that says what study they're talking about. And if you click that, you know where it takes you? To the original fucking study, so it's the same fucking, it's just so infuriating. And then they want to argue with somebody who's been doing this. And like, also, by the way, just as an add-on to this, you absolutely are allowed to have a different opinion than somebody else. Like, if it's an opinion, I was stating things based in fact, and this person was not. But if you have an opinion or a different thing to say than somebody else, you can absolutely do that without insulting the other person, without being like, you're a dumbass. Somebody came at me the other day and said, like, use the word genius sarcastically at me. And I was like, does that help you make your point? Like, I don't understand why you need to insult me to also make, if your point is valid, you don't need an insult with it. If your point is valid, you don't have, no insult necessary. That's it. You're insulting somebody so that you can knock them down a peg or two to try to win the argument. And for me, that just doesn't work for me. That just infuriates me. And I mean, I guess that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to like ruffle somebody's feathers so that they can't have a logical conversation with you anymore. Because now you come at me, bro. I'm gonna bust your ass. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's my attitude about it. You lucky we on the internet is all I'm saying, because you don't really know me. But having said that, I also like you don't have to do that. We can just, if you know what you're talking about and you can back up what you're talking about, you don't have to insult me, and I don't have to insult you.
Correct.
That's it. And then, so this guy says, I did read the study. After saying all this shit, I did read the study. And I go, awesome. Clearly you didn't. Like, all of your commentary says that you didn't read any of it, but cool, awesome. Like, I'm done. So it just really, like, for you guys, if you're doing that, please stop. If you can hear my voice, you are watching or listening to our podcast. That is the Cannabis Closet podcast. Sorry, the Cannabis Closet podcast with Canna Queen and MJ. I am like beside myself today, so excuse me for not being able to talk, but
take a sip of water, darling.
I know I'm going to, but if you do that, just stop. Just when you're scrolling and you see a headline that's like clicks in your brain, like, oh, that's interesting that cannabis can help with COVID. Hear my voice, click the link, read the article, understand it, click it. And if you don't want to click the link, check out our cannabis and COVID episode. We just talked about it. Absolutely.
All right. I tried going with I tried typing in the link here. Just like, I can't copy paste from whatever.
We'll post it if you
but I tried link, and it won't let me there. So
if you have that link, we will post it on our Facebook.
I'll try to find it later with the keywords. It's just, it's not popping up for me right away, and it's my technical difficulty for the day. So
cool. I understand.
Just so everyone knows, it's that's always a specialty of the show. It's always brought to you by a technical difficulty,
technical difficulties,
and we like to get through them and we do well with that.
So this, are you spoiler? Are you sending a spoil? Are you spoiler alerting our show right now, yo?
They have been the whole time. Like they've been way ahead of us. Like
They're
they were
way
way
ahead of
ahead of
us.
us
They're like,
before we
let's
got
get to
to.
talking about this
They're like,
stuff.
you're fifth.
They're
That's when they
like,
were like, you're 15 minutes behind. We're like, we're just starting
we're
to,
just getting
make sure everyone's getting in here.
started. Yeah, we want to make sure
So,
that we
but
have an
thank you for
audience.
being here. Toxoplasmosis
Yeah,
affected
thank
cat.
you. You are
Should
posting
I?
a. If you guys go into YouTube and you see these comments, there's some good commentary in the comments, but we haven't actually started talking about it yet. I want to let you guys know that if you want to hang out with us you ever want to brainstorm with us, just smoke with us, you need somebody to commiserate with, hit us up on our Discord. You can check us out on our Discord. The only rule is you got to treat other humans like humans. They're expected to treat you like a human being. We're not going to be mean or bigoted to each other because that's against the rules. I will kick you out myself. I don't tolerate that kind of shit. If you are watching on TikTok, I'm leaving my TikTok on because why not? You guys are learning, at least you're hearing my side. But if you want to hear both sides of this conversation and check out what's going on in the comment sections, you can join us on twitch.tv/cannabis closet 420. You can join us on Facebook Live, and you can join us on YouTube also. You can find all of our links on solo.to/cannabis closet 420. That's where you can find all most of our links. I got to update it a little bit, but yeah, so check us out there.
I'm not sure what I understand about still over 21 minutes behind
I
playing at
don't
2 times
yeah,
the
I
speed.
don't know what you're talking about. We're
We're
live right
live.
now.
We're
we are
live,
we are
and
31 minutes into the show,
yeah.
and we are playing at normal speed, and this is part of the show. We banter a little bit in the beginning so that people can get here and get the meat of the show if that's what they're looking for. So
But
we do
hang
a
in
little
with
bit of,
us, and thank you for
yeah,
being here.
and we're interesting, so don't even worry about it. If you guys are into the King Palms like I am, you can definitely get 15% off this month by using code KPTCCPJAN. So KPTCCPJAN. If for some reason that doesn't work, hit me up. Y'all know where to find me, Canada Queen DGO, everywhere I go. So hit me up and I'll just create another code for you. So I'll make sure that you can get that 15% off. If you want it, you can have it. I will make sure of that. This show is brought to you by CQ LLC Cannabis Consulting. You can check out our website, www.cq-llc.com. You can email us, customer service, cqllc@gmail.com. You can call us 970-426-5985. CQLC was recently approved to teach responsible vendor training in the state of Colorado. It is a requirement for delivery drivers and hospitality workers in the cannabis space, but it's also used to help with it's used in mitigating circumstances, considered a mitigating circumstance if in fact your whole team is taking the class, and if in fact you get some kind of disciplinary action against you, they will look at whether or not this class has been taken by your team. So check us out. And CQLC also does cannabis consulting. So if you're just not sure where to go, if you're a new business that needs help with licensing, setups, training, give us a call, 970-426-5985. Knowledge is power. That is our platform, actually. Our main platform. That's what we live on. You are watching the Cannabis Closet podcast today with Canna Queen and MJ. And before we get into our main subject today, I do want to do a little trigger warning announcement. So bear with me so that I can say this one more time now that everybody is in here. You are about to get highly educated with the Cannabis Closet podcast with Canna Queen and MJ. This is an adult content show with no limitations on subject, language, or actions. Opinions, views, and expressions may or may not be that of the hosts and their subsidiaries. If you aren't sure about how we feel about something, don't worry. We'll tell you. And you can just take a good look at our faces. It'll probably tell you too. So it's time to get this session started. Thanks for rolling up and showing up, and enjoy the main subject of this show, because it is going to be triggering. We are talking today about the war on drugs, and the history of it, how it's affected the United States specifically, and some shit we didn't even know. So we could talk about this for 4 days or more. We could probably talk about this for 4 months. But we're gonna talk about as much as we can in the space and time that we provide ourselves for this show today. And I hope you enjoy the content that we're about to bring you. And yes, read those comments in the YouTube section, because there's a lot of interesting information that toxoplasmosis affected cat is bringing us right now. It looks very relevant.
Can we call you Toxo? Can we call you Cat?
Can we call you
preference? Because I can't say that every single time I reference you.
Toxoplasmosis.
You're really,
I love it.
I love it.
Toxoplasmosis.
It's a mouthful for me. I gotta drink some water.
Drink some water. Hydrate, everybody. Hydrate. I still have my TikTok on live right now. Just, because some people just like to have it in the background. So
yeah, totally. If there's people hanging in, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I wanted to, it sounds like we're getting ready to get into the meat of things.
Yes.
And
let's talk about the meats.
We're talking about the war on drugs today, people, and it did not just start within the last decade. This has been going on for hundreds of years, and so I think I pulled something. Oh, God.
Yeah, go. No, you go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
There's a first document. Yeah, no, it's all right. There's like the first documentation, 1870s. The first anti-opium laws were directed at Chinese immigrants. The first anti-cocaine laws in the early 1900s directed at Black men in the South. The first anti-M-word laws in the Midwest and the Southwest in the 1910s and 20s were directed at Mexican migrants and Mexican Americans. And today, Latino and especially Black communities are still subject to wildly disproportionate drug enforcement and sentencing practices. So that's what we're talking about today. And this is from the drugpolicy.org, issues of brief history of drug on war. And that's what I'm pulling from here today. I'll go ahead and include that in the comment. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, I'm reading the title of the article.
I want to, can I share this picture? Because this is one of the first things
I was.
Yes. You got it. Go ahead. Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, let me post that.
This is my favorite thing about how ridiculous we are. Well, not my favorite, but
get back up here. So yes, and so but then when
let me pull our banner down here so that we just have the full screen there.
I have to pull up my show notes because of how it's pasted into here. It's just not really playing well for me, but I'm like, whatever.
Are you playing a video?
No, the picture, the first picture, right?
Yeah.
That's what you want, but I have to do it through our you'll see.
Oh, got you. I feel what you're saying. This is so interesting to me.
I am only this close, like this good at technical stuff, so I can make things through, but we're
Look at this. In the 1890s, this is in the Sears Roebuck catalog. Roebuck.
Yeah. Roebuck. Oh, I thought it was Roebuck my whole life. It is. That's just a typo.
It's Roebuck. Yeah, it's definitely Roebuck. They sold a hypodermic needle with cocaine for $1.50, y'all. For $1.50, you could get cocaine in a needle in the Sears. I mean, that was a lot back in there. I wish I could calculate. Can somebody calculate that in the comment section? Toxoplasmosis, you seem very well versed in things. Maybe you could tell us how much $1.50 would be in today's money.
So they were toxoplasmosis affected cat commented earlier about the M word is, I don't know if it's an article, a documentary. I couldn't find it. It pulled up a different set of Googles when I typed that in, and it did not work when I typed in that feature. So I'll find it later, but that's what we were is talking about the M word, talking about.
I don't know what that means. 15 minutes behind, but I'm gonna be behind. It's fine. I don't even care. Stop saying it. Stop saying it. Or I'm gonna put a silencer on you.
It's gonna take us even more. Yeah, it's gonna take us even longer.
We'll be even further behind if you keep telling us how far behind we are. Oh, what's up?
That is my cousin's husband, and
Oh, you're in Florida. Florida's got some new stuff that's about to come down. So
I think
definitely,
that's you.
definitely pay attention to what's going on in Florida, because there's a lot of stuff out there that's going on. They're trying to pass they've got a couple of House bills and Senate bills we talked about on Wednesday that they're trying to get votes on. So definitely look into that and use your voice where they allow you to use your voice. So if you have like city hall meetings or county hall meetings, whatever, even if they don't let you talk, you should still show up there, like be present there if you can.
Know what they're saying and talking about and trying to
Listen to
pass.
listen to what they're saying, and and yeah, but there's a lot happening in Florida right now. And at some point they're going to ask for public input, I feel like, or they maybe not. It's Florida. DeSantis is their
I think
guy
they
out
do,
there.
but I don't know. I don't even know. But if it's like
Anyways,
here, they ask you for your input, but only if you get the emails or
what's
only
up,
if you're actually
Arizona?
checking in, on those things. And so we're trying, guys. We're trying. We have, we're steps and steps behind on other things as far as websites, but we would like to present a section to you where you can find. But
Woo!
go to normal.com in your area. If until we get our website up and running, you
Yeah.
can find your local things going on by going to norml.com and searching your state, and maybe if there's a local chapter,
Donate
reach out to them, donate. If there's not a
$25.
local chapter and you would like to get one started, talk to them about that. I think they have that
Thank you, drinking
capability. And
coffee.
yes, this is my second cup of coffee all day long.
Oh, nice. So yeah, so we had that. I'm gonna put this back up because we were talking about something else. But yeah, so in the 1890s, they actually sold cocaine in the Sears Roebuck catalog for $1.50 with a syringe and instructions on how to use it. And prohibition is just like a form of control. So this is a way for governments to try to control their people. And also is, I think, a lot of times, oftentimes, stemmed in either socioeconomic privilege or like racial privilege. So I feel like that, like, they're when we talk about alcohol prohibition and we talk about the prohibition of these different drugs that have been prohibited over the centuries, since the beginning of America, really. Um, it's interesting, like some of them, and it's also interesting what they allow themselves to have and what they keep from us or try to keep from us.
Mm-hmm.
So, we just have a few like little notes that we're going to talk on. We know, most of you know, maybe some of you don't, but in 1937, that's when the Marijuana Tax Act was passed. And this didn't make cannabis or marijuana, and they also spelled it, by the way, with a HU. This didn't make marijuana illegal, but it made it very difficult to have it on person, because if you didn't pay the tax, then there was like these huge exorbitant fines. It was introduced by a representative out of North Carolina, Robert Doughton. Yes, drafted by Harry Anslinger. So we all know this name, right? And again, it didn't decriminalize. It didn't criminalize possession, but the penalties were vast. So in 1937, the fine would be up to $2,000. That's a lot of money in night. That's a lot of 19. That's a lot of
That's a
money
lot of
today.
money. We know that.
Yeah, like that's a lot of money right now. So think about in 1937, and 5 years in prison. We've been talking about this all day because with this we've been getting ready for the show all day. But the prison system is just an extension of slavery, you guys. That's all it is. And I'll fight you about it.
It's
Yeah,
indentured labor. They're like
and taking people's rights
profits
for
for
no
prisons
reason.
because those people that's a whole no.
You
We're
know,
gonna
because
have a prisoner project, or we're
yeah,
hoping
we
we can
definitely
get
are
out to.
doing a
Okay.
prison show, because the prison industrial complex is real. It's a real life thing, and it's affecting our families. So I want to we're just saying some of these things so that oh, maybe you have a lag. Maybe they have a lag. And then they can play. I don't know. I'm just trying to
I don't
understand
know.
this comments, man.
Well, we're glad you're catching up.
I'm glad you're catching up. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Definitely, people of color have been mostly affected by this, and definitely the taxes that we collect from cannabis sales. Some of it should, like portion of it, definitely portions of it should go to education, to infrastructure. You know, making sure we have good roads, but we should also be paying back these families that lost their family because of these bullshit laws. Um, so I want to put things into perspective as far as time, because when we think about things like the scheduling system, right, we think about like how long has it been in place. Only since Richard Nixon. Only since Richard Nixon, which was in the 70s. I was
Because
born
they
in the
actually,
70s.
because
i
they
was
actually, oh yes, sorry.
I was
Yes, we
born
were
in the
born in the 70s.
70s. So this I mean, this happened before I was born, but like this isn't that long ago. It's not, it's like
No.
50 years ago, right? Um, Nixon created the Controlled Substances Act, and this is what outlined the five schedules. And then he had a speech in June of 1971 where he was the one. I know a lot of people credit Ronald Reagan for this. He was an extension of this, but Nixon is actually the one who brought the war on drugs to us, and he coined the phrase in a speech that he gave to Congress. And he called the drug problem in America public enemy number one. And so, um,
I have a
two,
note here.
go ahead.
Oh, you got it. You're reading it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So 2 years prior to this, Nixon had formally declared a war on drugs that would be directed towards eradication, interdiction, and incarceration. I find this piece, this little bit, very interesting, and it's kind of like we harp on this a lot because the system is doing exactly what it's supposed to. We have to fight against the system that was built by people who look like me but with male parts. um it is working how it's supposed to work, and it always has worked how it's supposed to work. So
Reefer
uh
Madness was again to drive, that is all part of it. To,
Reefer
when we
Madness was
talk
created
about,
by a
yes,
church.
yeah,
like like that video was put out as fact, and it was created by a church, and Mr. Anslinger gave his blessing on it. He was like, yes, do that. So this is one of my favorite things that they've admitted out loud as of relatively recent in the 2000s. uh I would say mid to into the 20s. We've recently found this out. uh Ehrlichman, which was Nixon's domestic policy chief at the time, has been quoted as saying, we knew we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war or against Black people, but by getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and Blacks with heroin, and then criminalizing both heavily, we could disrupt those communities. We could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news, which, by the way, there was like three channels owned by like one person or whatever, and they all said the same shit. um
yep.
did we know we were lying about drugs? Of course we
Of
did.
course we did. Of course. Yeah, and this is why everyone's like, this is all bullshit. It's literally right here. You literally just said
You
right here.
literally said it out loud. You literally admitted that you guys were racists and
Eradicating,
warmongering racists.
incarcerating.
Right.
Mm.
Which also furthers my point that incarceration is just an extended form of slavery. It's all it is. They're just making money on the backs. Anyways, okay.
In
So
2021, after 50 years of the drug war, others have estimated that the US has spent a cumulative of $1 trillion on this. In 2015, this is coming from the Drug Policy Alliance, which advocates to end the war. They estimated that the United States spends about $51 billion annually on these initiatives. And in 2021, it was cumulatively
So
$1 trillion.
So just to let you guys know, on TikTok, I'm probably going to bounce off of here, but if you go to solo.to/cannabis closet420, you can find us live. We're talking about the war on drugs today. It's a very interesting topic, and I hope you'll join us. We're on Twitch, Facebook Live, and YouTube right now. Look for Cannabis Closet 420, and you can find us on those platforms. My battery's dying, so I got to bounce. So there was the war on drugs was happening in the early 70s, but then Nixon was out. So then Nixon was out and Jimmy Carter was in. And prior to Jimmy Carter being in, like around the time of him coming into power, they decriminalized drugs, marijuana specifically, in 11 states. So for a time in the 70s, cannabis was decriminalized. Yeah.
I wanted to address this in a minute. That's why I wanted to say this before I got lost.
So it was decriminalized for a time while Jimmy Carter was in office, but then Reagan took office in the 80s, and he blew this war on drugs up. He blew it the fuck up.
420, you're almost here.
You're almost here.
I'm gonna pick up here with the HU. When we're talking about the M word, and the spelling of it, and initially it was spelled with an HU, MAR, or no, it's marijuana with a J, like as we know, and we see it also spelled with an H. I feel like that was for the white folks so that they knew how to spell it or say it properly, because people make fun of marijuana and don't know how, and
yeah.
Sorry.
It's also, no, it was definitely with racist tonalities. It's not actually a word that was they kind of created that word to make it sound more Mexican, more Spanish, so that,
and then vilified and started saying the wacko, wacky weed and devil, anyway, the negative associations.
Right. A lot of the negative associations are built in racism and in demonizing anybody who would be against that or against a war or things like that. So that's where a lot of that was built on. So yeah, so Reagan came back hard, right? And he and his wife, and then his wife was on board too. So like they came back hard with this war on drugs. They had stricter penalties so this is how we know it was a racist policy too. They had stricter penalties for low level and small amounts of crack cocaine than they did for powdered cocaine. So you could have, I think the article said you could have over like around 500, I want to say milligrams. That seems maybe right. You could only have like a little tiny bit of crack cocaine and get life in prison, be taken away from your family for life. Whereas white folks, who were the ones that were using like powdered cocaine, were getting a slap on the wrist going home, maybe having to serve some community service or something like that. So they put these really strong penalties on the cheaper version of the drug when they're literally like the same drug. They're the same drug.
Want to have a reminder real quick. Check out our Facebook page. I posted that YouTube video of the Jay-Z and the artist Molly Crabtree, if I remember correctly. And it's pretty, it follows along with all this in the art, like visually. It's just like, I wish we could be playing it right now because it's
a YouTube
it shows
video,
that where she she's painting these situations and giving a visual of it where in Louisiana people are going to jail for it still, and here in Colorado people are
getting
profiting
rich
off of it.
That's
and
right.
And so it's talking about it's going from the beginning, from the bill, and it follows along to this whole thing. So check out our Facebook page.
I definitely want to point out my complete lack of knowledge about cocaine and how it's measured, because I've never used cocaine. I've stayed very far away from it. So I just want to point that out. I realize that, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. But the point is that you could have a tremendously much larger amount of powdered cocaine as a white person and get a slap on the wrist, while black men were being sent to prison because they were addicted to a drug.
They're going to be doing that same thing with cannabis. If you guys are not paying attention, in some areas, they are already making a
They've been doing that.
differentiation between cannabis and marijuana again. And they're, and hemp. And, of course, we talk about that and being a line of it, but this good weed and bad weed thing that is being, again, the stigma that is still being spread on this is it's still insane. And so, um,
Yeah, so somebody had posted, just staying on the subject of people being jailed for low-level drug offenses, which include cannabis, but also include other drugs that people have addictions to. Some people might be selling it on the black market or underground market, but generally speaking, a lot of the people that are in prison for life for low-level drug convictions, low-level nonviolent drug convictions, had enough to serve themselves. So they were booked on or arrested on possession charges, and the possession that they had was enough for themselves. And that's ridiculous to me, to be in prison for life to have like enough for myself. That's not enough for myself. I mean, neither is this, but you know what I'm saying? And the fact of the matter is that I would have never gone to jail for life for that. The likelihood of that having ever happened to me, a white girl from the South, never would it have happened to me. So that's why I think it's really important for somebody that looks like me to talk about it too, honestly, because that is my privilege, that I would have also gotten a slap on the wrist. But somebody posted today about deadbeat dads not being a real thing. And I said, and I commented on that, but I like, what I have to say about that is that deadbeat dads exist, but were created. I think that like the ones we think about, like because the media puts them in our face, because this is how it was presented to us in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and the early 2000s. When you think about a deadbeat dad, you're thinking about like in poor communities and in communities of color. Like immediately when I said that, those were the pictures that popped up in your head, whether you wanted them to or not, for a lot of us. And it's because of the conditioning that we've been through. Here's the thing: there are fathers who are not present in all communities, and probably equally so. But I will say
right.
this: the government created a situation where black fathers couldn't be present for their families because they were being arrested for having a fucking joint in their pocket, and they had to spend 25 years in jail while their children grew up without a father.
Yeah.
That's what happened. And then
And
it
that goes
becomes
to not being able to
generational.
have a lawyer and money,
And
it all
yes,
becomes
and
money,
it's all
money,
and
money,
it all
money,
goes in. And
paying
so
into
then
the
it becomes,
system.
but then it becomes generational too. So then you grew up without a father, so then you are an absent father, right? And then your child is an absent father. And then so it's generational. We do have to break our generational curses, but this isn't the fault in a lot of these cases. I don't want to spew statistics that aren't true, and I never would do that. But in a lot of these cases, fathers were ripped away from their families for some bullshit that they should have never been in jail for. And now this is still happening. There are still people in prison for low-level nonviolent cannabis offenses and for other low-level nonviolent drug offenses as well, where the only person they were really harming was themselves. And so maybe they need some counseling or something like that as opposed to jail time. I digress. The point
I think
is,
that was Clinton stood on a platform like that, right?
yes, the three-strike rule. The three-strike rule ruined families, ruined them. The war on drugs started that, and then in the 90s the three-strike rule happened. And they stood on that. And they were, by the way, they were Democrats. They were considered liberals of their time. They wouldn't be considered that now, but they were. So this problem is probably one of my biggest problems with the war on drugs is that our government systemically ripped these families apart, blamed them for not being present for their children, right? Did this on purpose, introduced crack cocaine. You can fight me on this too. Introduced crack cocaine into these neighborhoods.
Oh
You
yeah,
fight me on this
they
too.
totally. And I think there's actually a documentary that pretty much goes into this. And if sister would choose her nap time to be different, her siesta to be a
Oh
different
yeah, she
time,
needs to siesta at a different time.
She would have that. She keeps telling me I need to watch, and I'm like, no, you're supposed to watch it and give me the sister notes.
Yes. Yes, that's what you're there for.
And she's already watched it. That's why I'm like, hello.
So this is my biggest problem with the war on drugs. But let me tell you what else has happened. Oh, you are on the West Coast.
Oh,
We
it
got
is
an
right
alarm.
now.
Oh, is this? Did our alarm go off? Ding ding
It is
ding
going
ding.
off right now.
It is. It's 4:20. Light them up. It's 4:20 on the West Coast. I got a bouncy
You're
ball
on
as
it.
my
He
seat.
caught up. Caught up.
Nice catch. Nice catch. Happy 420. I'm glad you've caught up.
Thanks for joining us today. You've been an excellent
Provider
commenter.
of information.
We really do enjoy seeing our friends in the comments, and I can't see numbers or who's here unless you're commenting. So my friend finally, I gave her a hard time for not tuning into the show, and she picked up. Lucy actually tuned in, and she's like, "Did you know I was there?" And I was like, "I can only see numbers. I don't know how to see all the things." And I was like, "So you got to talk to me. You got to talk to me." So I'm like,
yeah, that's what's up. Everybody lit, everybody, because we're about to go into part 2 of this. Because not only did the war on drugs, I won't say it created this systemic violence against these communities, because that had been happening for a long time. Definitely was more fuel to that fire. It definitely persuaded a lot of Americans' opinions, because like I said, we had like 2 or 3 news channels, and we all saw the same shit every single day. So like we couldn't have an opinion that was different, because we were being fed the same news. We didn't get anything different.
right.
Y'all, that's why when we did that, what's pissing Canna Queen off, y'all, that's why it pisses me off. We didn't have that, so we had to go to a fucking library and flip through cards and shit and fucking microfiche and all this shit to get our information. You literally have it in the palm of your fucking hands. Click the link. Just fucking click anyways.
Okay.
So aside from the racist stuff, the government we already know the government's corrupt, right? But they are so gross, dude.
Real quick, just to kind of on that in regard to the language and what each administration has done, and so the Obama administration actually said they would not use the war on drugs, the term war on drugs, as they thought it was counterproductive to communities, and so that was pulled from one of these links down here. So toxoplasmosis.
So what do I mean by these communities? I mean communities of color and communities of low socioeconomic status were affected the most, and disproportionately the most. And by the way, I'm sorry, white people, poor white people were, yes, absolutely disproportionately affected by the war on drugs, but not nearly at the levels of people in communities of color, Black men specifically. We can fight on that too. I will die on that hill. Black communities were more highly affected than even poor communities, but poor communities definitely were highly affected by the war on drugs as well. A lot of poor white men ended up in, I'm not wrong. I'm not. The poor white men were affected. We can agree to that. And poor white women were affected, and poor white families were affected. But I'm not wrong on that. Black people have been absolutely disproportionately affected. And the reason they were disproportionately affected is because they're still fighting generational happenings from when their families were enslaved, which, by the way, there are people who are living now, who are still alive today, who remember their grandparents or being enslaved or remember being separated from their families because of slavery. So like it's not subjective. It's absolutely that Black communities,
And we're
especially
not saying that white people are not being incarcerated
we're
either. We're
not
just
saying
saying
that. We're not saying that at all.
in
But
terms of
you can
like
even look at
numbers,
you can look at
statistics.
statistically in prisons. You can look in the prison system and see who is percentage wise. There's a higher percentage of Black men in prison than there are white men in prison. There's absolutely, and also those numbers, those percentages, higher percentages of Black men being in prison are in places where the Black population percentage wise is lower than the white population. So yes, absolutely, Black communities have been disproportionately affected. Absolutely, if you're not a straight white man, straight white rich man, you are going to be affected by these policies based on your race or based on your ethnicity or based on your socioeconomic status. But I will argue with you all day. The Black community has been mostly affected by this, and that's because um, the Black community hasn't gotten any slack. Slavery, segregation, Jim Crow, like there's still systemic things happening right now, and there's still Black men going to prison in higher numbers in states where there's not legal cannabis, where white men get a slap on the wrist. Absolutely. And I mean, we're not, listen, we could sit here all day. Anybody who's not a straight white man is gonna probably be more disproportionately arrested and put in jail for these crimes. That's it. But I'm not going to sit here with you and go through all however many different ethnicities there are. What about Slavic? Come on, bro. Like you are taking away from the point of this show. And so this conversation is over. In the United States of America, Black men are disproportionately jailed for the same crimes that are done by white men and by poor white men. Poor white men do also get off because sometimes they're good old boys and they know the cops. Okay. So Black men usually end up in jail and away from their families, and the numbers bear that out. And you can argue with me about that all day, but move on.
As an Asian person,
Thank
I
you.
don't know
I
what
wasn't
to
going to
say
speak on
about
that.
in terms of I don't know if we're looking at geographical numbers or what, but maybe that because they traditional. I don't know. I was raised white,
Listen,
so
this country, listen,
but
this
I was
country got
also
some,
raised.
like, listen, this country got some apologizing to do to the Asian community. Absolutely. We had camps that we put Asians into camps, and we absolutely have
Black
some
on
answering to
Asian
do.
crime. There is Asian.
And
There is a hate on
recently,
Asian on Black crime.
listen,
There is. We're
recently,
not
Asians,
saying that we're
yeah,
talking about everything here, but when it comes down to the numbers of who's getting arrested more or for what, we're talking about possession of cannabis for low, and how many men that are sitting and women, men more than women,
incarceration
because then you
numbers.
want to fight on that. Are there more women? No, there are
More
more.
Black women, I'll tell you that.
More,
There's more
yes,
Black
more
women
Black
in prison
women,
than white
exactly.
women.
So just so we're clear, we are we're on
I
the
also want
side
to
of
just say
more
that
melanin in your skin.
the war on drugs doesn't affect people who have opioid addictions. They don't go to jail mostly.
And you already called yourself out that you are a white Jewish man, and they are the least arrested.
Bro. No more. Nah, we're done with that
So
one. Hey, listen, we're
again, I
done.
don't know
Hey,
where you're coming from, at
MJ,
what point, or if
MJ,
you're just
hey,
trying to be the devil's
nah,
advocate.
they are. MJ, this is our friend. This is our friend from long ago. They've welcome back season 2. We're done with that conversation. Okay. Let's
You said, I thought you said
no,
up there
hey,
you were
MJ,
Jewish.
don't even
Okay,
don't you're it's
cool.
taken away from the show, and I don't want to take away from the show. So
Can we
to
go
get
ahead
back into the subject of the show, let's not take away from what we're talking about, because what it is very important. So back online. So that is the we don't care. That is the basis of what really irritates me the most about the war on drugs. But when we were reading about this, I started reading about things that I guess they shouldn't surprise me, but they kind of did. Because I was like, oh man, that's super, super, super shady. That the government is doing that. And but then also I'm not surprised that the government is doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not I'm not shocked by it. So, any of you who have seen the film The Manchurian Candidate, which was done in 1962 as a Cold War thriller. It was based on a 1959 novel, and it was called the Operation Midnight Climax, part of the mind control project that ran for more than a decade, saw CIA bankrolled prostitutes lure unwitting testers into CIA safe houses where they were dosed with psychedelic drugs and to have their altered states observed through one-way glass. So while the United States government is like putting all of these restrictions on their citizens, especially when it comes to drugs that are actually not dangerous or not dangerous in higher levels, like LSD is, it could be, it's man-made, it could be very dangerous depending on how it's made and everything. And in higher levels, psychosis can definitely set in with that. They were testing it on human beings like behind our backs, while they were also prohibiting us from using things like marijuana. But this one is like this. So I found this on the History Channel's website, and this is like, I was like, what in the crazy? I'm so upset about this. It just, to me, it doesn't make sense. Our friend want to talk about Jews? Let's talk about Jews. Okay. So uh the CIA's support of a Nazi official helped launch South American drug trade. This article is called Eight Times America. What does it say? 8 times America's war on drugs was stranger than fiction. So the Manchurian Candidate is real. That really happened. There's a couple documentaries on that too, on those LSD projects. But this one pissed me off, I think, the most. Despite his brutal reign as the Butcher of Lyon, Klaus Barbie became a CIA asset after World War II. Like many high ranking Nazi officers, he fled to South America after the war, where he became chummy with some of the most fearful drug lords in history, including Pablo Escobar, Roberto. Sorry, I said that in Southern. Roberto Suarez Gomez, one of the inspirations of Scarface. And with the complicity of the CIA, Barbie and a team of Nazi mercenaries known as the Fiancés of Death helped Suarez Gomez in his goal to overthrow Bolivian government and turn it into a narco state. So, like, it's our fault. And that's why I said that we introduced crack cocaine into these communities, because we did. Like, we literally let a Nazi go to fulfill our mission to keep poor people poor and Black people segregated. We didn't care about what this man did. And let me, if for those of you, trigger warning, for those of you not familiar with the Butcher of Lyon, let me just give you a few highlights. Okay. Let's pull this article up because my computer's being slow again and I don't know why. This guy is, he's horrible. This is also on the History Channel. So it's a short article too. It's definitely worth a read. Check out the History Channel, you guys. So he is responsible for, first of all, they posted this in May 11th, 1987. Okay, this is from 1987. He finally went on trial, I guess, more than 4 decades after the war, World War II. He was charged with 177 crimes against humanity. He was a Nazi chief in the secret police in Lyon, And he sent 7,500 French Jews and French resistance partisans to concentration camps and executed 4,000 others. Um, he personally tortured and executed many prisoners. In 1943, he captured the leader of the French resistance and slowly beat him to death. He sent 44 children and 7 of their teachers to Auschwitz. Of the 51, only 1 survived, and it was a teacher. I will put you back in timeout if you continue to argue with us, because that's not how this show works. Barb, I will actually just kick you out because you have some interesting shit to say, and that's great, but you're not going to argue with us. He returned to Germany at the end of the war, burned his identification tattoo off, and assumed a new identity, but still went to he still, or he engaged in underground anti-communist activity. And in June in 1947, he surrendered himself to the U.S. Intelligence Corps. He worked as a U.S. agent in Germany for us. A Nazi worked in the U.S. intelligence agency for us. And in 1949, for 2 years, the Americans shielded him from French prosecutors trying to go after him. So they shielded him from prosecution, or we did, the United States. In 1949, he was smuggled to South America. So we assisted in all of those things. He assumed a new name, and he became a success. This enrages me. Became a successful businessman. He advised military regimes in Bolivia. He helped Hugo Banzar Suarez come when he came into power. He helped him create internment camps for his political opponents, which is gross. He also served as an officer in the secret police in Bolivia, and he participated in drug running schemes, founded the rightist death squad, regularly traveled to Europe and France, where he had been tried in 1952 and 1954 in his absence and sentenced to death. But they protected him from all of that. So, yeah, he got to live his whole life basically. And then in 1987, he finally went to trial for his crimes against humanity. In the courtroom, let's see, he was defended by 3 minority lawyers, an Asian, an African, and an Arab, who made dramatic case that the French and the Jews were as guilty of the crimes against humanity as Barbie and any other Nazi. That's gross, y'all. That's gross. And he got to live his life basically until then because we helped him do that. We helped him do that. You don't assume either. Stop having an argument, okay? We don't care, actually. So yeah, I mean, I guess he finally got his. He was found guilty in July of 1987. He was 73, y'all, and he had to spend the rest of his life in prison. And he died of cancer in 1991. He had to live out his whole life. He had to live out his whole life and do great things, and then he only spent a little bit of it in prison. Like literally, this was 1987 to 1991. So that's pretty infuriating to me that you know, I mean, I know, I'm not naive. We're not naive about anything. We know that the United States is involved in these corrupt things. But it's just like, God, it's so gross. You're muted, babe. You're muted.
Sorry, lady was whining, so
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
fine.
want. But I was like, oh, in regard to I was kind of thinking in terms of like opium and it just being, like that, the collection of it and that how it's an industry.
Yeah.
We're given these, they set up these industries and these these markets, and then they like say they're bad, but so that they can launder their own money. It's just
no, we helped these bad actors get into power so that they could do these things, and then like the United States makes money off of this at the end of the day. The prison industrial complex is a moneymaker. Keeping people poor is a moneymaker. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Breaking apart families, they're making money doing that because then they're putting more people in prison. More people are taking, like, keeping people on drugs. The government is profiting from us, from all of it. From all of it. The system's working like it's supposed to work too, by the way. It just is. Yeah. Like, it was built to work like this. As much as we don't like it because we have some fucking common sense about how to treat humans, this is how the system was built by the aliens. Because I can't wrap my head around another human being feeling like these things are okay. Mass eradication is okay of an entire, and I don't, it drives me crazy. So I have to believe that they are aliens trying to destroy humanity by pitting us against each other, which is exactly what happens.
Yeah, exactly. We're their petri dish. We are the human trial.
We are. We really
are. We are their human trial for something else. And
that's right. There's nobody in cures.
Yeah. No money in cures, no money, but there is money in health because it is now a moneymaker. Like,
no, the healthcare is bullshit in the United States.
But getting healthy, like, it's now everyone's like, okay, there's this push for getting healthier, staying healthy. Why the benefits of it, and is now being capitalized on and promoted, right. And
but but big pharma will never let that play out on a large scale. That's still on a very small.
Not to toke. Always.
Definitely to toke. I feel like there's never going to be that much attention on being healthy. I mean, being healthy in these gimmicky ways is a big money maker, always has been, because those are gimmicks, and like it's like a get rich quick scheme. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like a get rich quick scheme. So it's like get healthy quick by doing this thing, right? So but yeah, there's more money in keeping people sick, because then they need medications, they need health like care. Equipment, they need their CPAP machine, they need things to clean their CPAP machine, and these pharmaceutical
use their
companies,
insurance to pay for these things.
Right. And whatever company. Insurance is a fucking
double
scam.
Dipping.
Yeah. And the pharmaceutical companies, look, they don't just own pharmaceutical companies. They have at least stock options in all of these companies that are making money off of people being sick. They at least have, at minimum, stock options, for the saline water companies and the cleaning products for the CPAP machines and you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just there's profit in keeping people sick, and there's profit in making people think that they can get healthy like that by doing some bullshit gimmicky thing, when really
you can just
what we need is
drink water, exercise, move your body.
Yeah.
That's the
so
basics.
we just had this conversation with one of our friends about, I think we've talked about it before on the show, where one of our friends was having some health issues, and we were like, one of the fastest ways to get healthier and feel better kind of quickly is to fucking drink water. It's like, drink water, hydrate, and stop drinking soda. Like, don't drink soda. Don't drink any
sugar.
Like,
cut
don't
out
drink
the
a lot
sugars.
of sugary, clunky shit. Yeah, like you want the clear stuff, So yeah, and literally we've talked to this person over the weeks that they've been cutting out soda and just drinking more water, and they feel better. They feel better, they feel more active, they feel more energetic. It's like the one thing, like, because cutting, when somebody goes, you should cut out sugar, you should cut out this, you should cut out this, and you're just like, whoa, what? That's so overwhelming, I can't.
I'm
Are
like,
you
you're right,
kidding
I
me?
should.
I
Um,
love bread. I love eating it every day. Like, I want it. I love cheese. You know what I'm saying?
bread
So
and
like,
cheese and yeah.
I love cakes and pies. Like, I love sugar. I do. I mean, I'm just gonna admit it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good for us. It's the most addictive substance on the planet. So I'm sure the
Oh
pharmaceutical
yeah.
companies got a little dip into that too, like to keep
Oh
us
yeah.
addicted to
Oh,
shit.
there's a whole
But
sugar cane or sugar industry down in Florida,
absolutely,
or so it's an
absolutely.
issue.
But it's hard to like stop eat, like, if you try to stop eating sugar right now and started like reading ingredients, you would not know what the fuck to eat. I feel like most of us, I'm saying you, general you, most of us would not know what the fuck to eat. It's in everything. Sugar's in bread, sugar's in pasta sauce, sugar's in like, just, I mean, think of a food. Think of a
Yeah.
food that
Yeah.
is a savory food, and then I'm gonna tell you how it has sugar in it, because all of it all has sugar in it. And so it's really hard to cut that out in the immediate when you're trying to make this plan to like feel healthier and be healthier, right? You can
Yeah.
you can cut most of your sugars out, the ones that you know, but like definitely it would be difficult to cut them all out. But the one thing you can do to change the way you feel is to hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Water, water, water. Drink a lot of water and cut out soda, cut out beer and alcohol. I know, hurting your feelings right now, but honestly, those are so many empty calories and so much sugar in all of that, that it just is, it's keeping us sick. It's literally keeping us sick. And that's what they want. They want
Yeah.
us to be sick, because when we're sick, we can't fight back. We can't fight
Yeah.
back. Moderation is absolutely the
Moderation
key.
is key. Yeah.
Absolutely. You have to, if you try not to, like, I'm not going to eat any
How to make a
cupcakes.
water plan. That is my challenge every day.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're
She's
going to be
really
like,
good about drinking her water, but
I
I
drink
think
water every day, all day, every day. But
I
like,
do, but I'm a
um,
challenge.
like, moderation helps, like just being like, I'm not going to eat cupcakes anymore, and then the cupcakes come around, and what the fuck do you want? You want the cupcakes, so like, eat the cupcake, one, not all of them. Like, that's the difference, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just, and not every day. And we don't have cupcakes every day. We have cupcake like once a week or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
It's a
You
problem
can.
being single
Okay,
and shopping and buying
this
things
is
in
so funny. It
bulk, and then
says,
it's like, oh,
don't
I have
drink.
to eat all 6
Ah,
cupcakes.
and a lot of us, hey, listen, a lot of us suffer from starvation economy too. So we grew up in the 80s and 90s, and like, we want to have our fridges stocked, and we want, we need to have access to those things. But you said don't drink too much water, to toke, or not to toke. Definitely always to toke. But yeah, don't drink too much water, because while cannabis isn't going to kill you unless it falls on your head, or something of that nature in large quantities, breaking your bones and your neck, basically, is what I'm saying. Water can kill you. You could die from drinking too much water. So don't drink too much
Yes.
water, but you definitely
Yeah.
want to drink larger quantities of water, and you want to definitely cut out those sugary drinks, and the yeah, those are very addictive too. So we're all addicted to
Because
something.
sugar is addictive. Yes,
So
it's
we're
something,
all
whatever it
addicted to
is. Yes,
something. How
it's
dare we
something.
judge other people for their addictions? We are all sitting here addicted to something.
Yep.
So the human body expends 1 gallon of water a day, FYI. So this is from, yeah, he like this, he knows these random fucking facts. It's weird. I love it though. So drink 1 gallon a day if possible. So yeah, there are people who definitely drink more than that, and they get sick. You can get it's like
Good for
drowning
your
yourself
skin.
internally if you
Yeah.
drink too much water. Be
Yeah.
careful.
Too much. Yeah.
They
All
do. They
right. So
taste so good. They do. They taste so good, but they are,
even
and that's,
juices, even different juice drinks and such, you're still getting even if it's a natural sugar, that's still sugar, and you should still be careful. Just because you're eating using fruits as a your sugar source those are still, your body
Yeah.
still process is a little bit easier, but you know, like
Right.
again, it's just not a
It's
free
still
reign
processed in a
to
similar
be,
fashion.
yeah.
Right.
So as far as some of those
Um,
juice drinks out
but
there.
there are people in places in Africa who just eat fruits and what else and there's something else, seaweed, I think, or something like that. Anyways, but and they look beautiful and amazing. Their skin is glistening. So, but yeah, you guys, okay, here's my trick for soda drinkers, at least for soda drinkers. My husband asked me if I would drink that Dr. Pepper if it was flat, and I was like, no, that's gross. And he was like, I think you like the bubbles. So I started drinking carbonated water. I started drinking the fancy shit. Like, we didn't want to get the cheap shit because, we didn't know how it's gonna. The fancy shit. If the fancy shit's good, we can get on with it. But then I was ruining the environment. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm drinking these glass bottles of Perrier and whatever. Um, so that year for Christmas, I got a Soda Stream, and I've had 3 since then. It's my favorite thing. I use it every single day, several times a day. I drink lots and lots of water. I do. And tea. I drink tea too.
I
But
have a
that was
Brita
easy.
water filter.
I will tell you this. You
I know.
guys, you see this face right here? Listen, this face has always been beautiful, but let me tell you this. It has not always been this slim over the years. In my 30s, I drank alcohol and soda, and it was obvious. If I look back at those pictures, I had more bags under my eyes. I was definitely more round here. So, like, right down here, I was more round. Beautiful still, but different, definitely. I looked tired too. Remember that picture I showed you a picture from like 7 years ago or something like that, where I was those bags, dude, I could have traveled to a foreign country for like 2 months with those bags. I was wearing my stress all over my face. It was a crazy time back then.
Do we want to circle back around to our war on drug topic, or we want to, and we can always have a, cannabis and nutrition episode. We want to
I
talk
think we
about
should.
juicing. We want to talk about juicing, and actually, that's a follow up to the raw cannabis discussion and COVID and
We're just looking for a really well-versed person who does cannabis juicing on a regular basis and can talk to us with some expertise about it, because I feel like
yes.
that's what you deserve.
Yes, we can regurgitate, and see but we would like to, cultivate some guests and um, get some additional, I don't know, yeah, people
um,
talking about it.
for sure. To wrap up the show, the United States is um, just killing its citizens for no reason. Tearing apart families for no reason. Just the last couple of things that I had on this list of 8 things that you would think were surreal or whatever was one of the things that we already talked about was that Nixon started the official war on drugs. Elvis Presley visited Nixon in the White House and asked him for an official badge. I don't know if he got this badge or not. Somebody tell me whether or not. It was in the 70s. He asked for a badge from the Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs, which later would be turned into the DEA. And he wanted that badge so he could travel with his illegal pharmacopoeia. In Mexico, they worshipped a drug trafficking saint because the government told the community, but there's this, not, I don't know if it was the government, but drug traffickers, I guess, adopted this story. It was drug traffickers adopted this story that their patron saint was like Robin Hood, and 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 Robin Hood was a drug dealer. So they created this story, so that's interesting. um let's see. El Chapo actually got his start at the age of 9. Some of you guys might not have known that. um he grew up in poppy fields. He rose to become the head of the Sinaloa cartel. I probably didn't pronounce that right. Um, and in 2012, he was number 1,153 on Forbes billionaire list and number 10 in Mexico. So that's interesting. I said that correct. Thank you very much. I could have said it with an accent.
Nicely done.
The Patriot. Oh, this one. Before we leave, the Patriot Act helped fuel the war on drugs. Let me tell you guys this. Some of you guys might know this already, but these numbers. I'm not going to read this whole little clip of it, but these numbers, these statistics, blew my fucking mind because I knew that it was happening, but I didn't realize it was this like disproportionate. So the Patriot Act was created in 2001 because of the terrorist acts that were committed on United States soil. They took that fear from Americans and then took control from Americans under that fear. So this act was created to help track terrorists and terrorism. But of the thousands of warrants issued under this act, less than 1% were for terrorism. Over 75% were for drugs. Over 75% of the warrants under the Patriot Act were for drugs. And today, the Taliban's largest source of funds is Afghanistan's opium and heroin industry. So you were speaking to that earlier. It's crazy. Little less than 1% of its staggering opium production is currently being seized. And every year since the U.S. First invaded Afghanistan, the production and monetary value of its opium crop has increased. So we did that. We did that. And then legal pills ushered in the opioid crisis in America. Not only did it usher it in, but it changed the demographic of the people that we saw as drug users and addicts, right? So this didn't just affect poor families. This was affecting anybody that became addicted to pain pills. This was affecting everybody. This and the doctors were doing it. And I think that we should take these doctors that were putting money in their pockets from pharmaceutical companies selling these drugs to patients who didn't need them should definitely be held accountable for that. Okay. So that's not happening yet, but I feel like that should happen. And the pharmaceutical companies that are pushing these drugs, why, back in the was it in the 80s when they said we can't do any, or maybe the 90s when they said we can't do any more cigarette commercials?
Yeah, there was basically a lawsuit against the cigarette industry and or big whatever you want to call it, and big tobacco,
Big
and
tobacco.
part of the settlement was that tax a portion of that they had to put into the advertisement of this is what can happen to you, the whole Surgeon General, like they were required to put this information, and again, went away with the whole cartoon stuff and
Yeah,
attracting to
I
a
had all
certain
that
age
shit.
stuff, but they pay for those ads, like they have to fund that stuff, like,
Yeah.
so and so it's like, I don't know, Dr. B tells it better
They're
as
both
far
they're
as like
both
how
pro
it.
tobacco and anti tobacco at the same time. They're playing both sides, but it's because the law requires them to, but they're not allowed to put those commercials on TV. And part of it is because they were catering to children. So now I know there's beer commercials and now they're on all day, but I think there were laws in the past where they could only be on at a certain time of day, which is kind of where we're at with our radio ads or things like that. We can only do things at certain times of day. in most states. That's what the advertisement laws require, and we don't have anything on TV yet, because God forbid.
I
But,
I know. But I
but
have seen some billboards and I have heard
yeah,
some
we've seen
radio ads, and
right.
so
So
kudos.
yeah, I don't understand, but here's what I was getting at, is that I don't understand, well, I do, it's about money, it's always about money.
It's
If
about
I say I don't
money.
understand something, I understand it, it's about money. Um, but, like, there are literally commercials telling people, "Go ask your doctor about this medication because you might have this disease." Like, what? Like, when did I get my PhD? And you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a conversation with your doctor about your healthcare and be informed and things like that, but I think it's a little asinine to have a whole ass commercial telling you um about symptoms that your doctor's never diagnosed you with, and that you may or may not have had before. And now, and there's also pharmaceuticals for relieving the symptoms that your other pharmaceuticals have caused. So, like, what? I'm just
That's
cannabis.
the that's the
It,
worst part.
it
I
is
I do know, in regard to the whole listing of all the stuffs from on the warning labels or whatever. It's like that, anything that was documented, like for those, during those trials, those human trials where people reported back, they, if they ate a bad taco and had a upset stomach, and they reported it while they were during this trial, that it would potentially be listed as, this is caused by this medicine, even though you ate a crap taco the night before, and so they have to list
yeah, but what if
anything
you
by
don't
that
eat a
is
crab taco?
right. So it's just telling you, anything like,
Yeah,
these
the
people in
you
this
could
trial
die.
experienced
Crab
these.
tacos don't
So
kill you usually.
everything from you can die to, it may cause the poops, it may cause, they
Right, when
the whole,
like, you might squirt out of your butt. I
yeah,
mean, like, that
the
doesn't
chemical
sound
that,
better.
in the for, wasn't there like a Lay's potato chips like thing where,
Oh, you froze. I don't know where you were going with that. You just totally oh, there you are.
did I come
Uh-huh.
back? Am I
Yeah,
back?
yeah, yeah,
Am I
you're back.
back?
It's okay. This is the name of the
I
show,
told
is
you it would happen.
Cannabis Closet Podcast with technical difficulties and Candy Queen and MJ. Um